I want to continue cleaning seeds today, and I brought more containers of this, like the cactus seedlings that we have sown out on the channel in the last maybe 1 month. And yeah, we will continue to look through them, look for problems, and I will do it on the camera so we can kind of, if you have questions, you can write them in the chat and I get back to them. Yeah, I'm sure we will run into problems here and there, quite a lot of them actually. And that's what makes the stream interesting. So I can't tell you what we're doing in the next week, because something might require us to do something there, like to transplant seedlings or whatever it is that needs to be done, you know. The interesting and also difficult part of this hobby is that you just cannot, sometimes you need to be good in many different areas, or at least prepared and competent in how to handle problems that will happen either way. Hey guys, good morning, welcome to the stream. Yeah, just discussing about the seedlings that we've grown in the last maybe 1 month or so. I have a few more here, the ones that I didn't have here yesterday. So that's what I want to do later. Right now I'm still cleaning seeds here, and I don't recall what it was. The last thing that we cleaned yesterday in the stream, but I just stopped and I already removed the paper towel where it was on. So I might have to watch the stream again to see what we what kind of a cross that was. I believe it was Flying Dragon Cantora, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But probably Flying Dragon Cantora, because I remember I have seen a second one, and one is already here from cleaning it yesterday. So yeah, Flying Dragon, interesting, big flower, fast growing plant. It grows so fast that it makes no sense to graft Flying Dragon. It usually grows faster than any of the grafting stocks that you would use. Hey guys, good morning. In the middle of cleaning the seeds where I stopped yesterday, but then I will do the seedling containers, looking for more problems. Always trying to avoid it becoming a much bigger problem later on if we don't become active in the beginning, early on. Everything gets worse by not reacting to it. Like in this kind of hobby, you just have to see what can become a problem later on and fix it before it becomes something that you might not be able to control anymore. Hey, good morning. I'm just getting from, like, you know, I'm still married, so unfortunately no, I am yet to be like divorced at some point. Just coming from my yeah, that episode with marrying that didn't work for me. That didn't really work out for me the way I had hoped. I don't think I will ever do it again. Was really disappointing, you know. You think you sometimes believe you know someone, but no matter how long, like you believe you know your partner, you know, can always suddenly you find out that it's some, like, the person that you thought they were doesn't exist. Like, you know, it's like a fantasy, you know. And then, but yeah, that is my my marriage story that I'm currently able to give, unfortunately. I'm still married, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure, but at some point I will definitely be divorced again, and that will be it, like for the rest of my life probably. I've seen enough. Like it wasn't really, I can only repeat it. I'm pretty like roughed up from everything, like I'm an old school kind of guy, and I love like being married. It was a great thing. Like I felt everything was great, and then suddenly I found out it wasn't, you know. Suddenly then I saw a completely new side, and it was very hurtful. I don't think I will ever get married again. That is that kind of trust is gone, Yeah. Was pretty like, I don't know. I'm really glad when like now I can say this with maybe 1.5 years in between. It's gotten a lot easier. Like the first year was really rough. Wasn't doing very well in the first year. But one thing that I kind of took out of it is that I'm done with any kind of dating for a very long time. Because you kind of I don't know, you lose trust. I don't think I can ever trust someone again. When you're really kind of let down, I'm a European. I'm in Europe, so you know. But yeah, I'm almost done here, and then I want to do the seedling containers. Don't want to like spend too much time talking about my divorce. I don't want to get sad again. So yeah, I'm just continuing to clean this, and then I will do the seedling containers because they are also important. I usually don't comment on like, I don't want to have people like stand in front of my doorway, to kind of, in the middle of the night or whatever. I appreciate being able to not have that, like to kind of still have some privacy and all that. The channel is nice and small. It's not that everything is so successful that I suddenly have too much of attention, like, people just coming to the door all the time. Luckily, that's not the case yet. It might be a problem one day, but for now it isn't. So I never really comment on that, But I was born in Germany. So yeah. But right now, everything is growing. We'll see how that goes, I'm happy to see success on the channel. Yesterday, by the way, I made a yes, like I said, I'm very much like done dating. I'm just that cactus guy for now. So thank you. But I'm so roughed up from everything. I will focus on the cactus stuff here. People who will watch the stream later, they will think like they were on the wrong podcast. Hey, good morning. I don't use any kind of dating app. I'm done with that kind of stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm really not in the market at the moment. I've had enough. I've seen enough. It was just yeah. After that, I need to kind of live with myself for a while. Need to learn to actually be with myself. And I can't even, at this point, I can't even do that, I just, it's something like when you realize you are basically alone, and then you kind of need to come to terms with it, and yeah, just getting to the point where I'm like happy with myself. I couldn't even, like, if I were in a relationship right now, I couldn't give that kind of emotional stuff, you know, that emotional closeness or trust. Like I said, I don't think I can trust like that for a very long time. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm happy because right now I have Mika and Kami that are like that require a lot of attention. And when you have when you're in a partnership, like in a relationship, you always have to also invest so much time. And right now, I wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, want to get this done here. The seeds are pretty clean, and then I will go through the seedling containers and everything. But yeah, this must have been Flying Dragon Cantora because I've shown it yesterday. Okay. So let's move on here. Flying Dragon Cantora. A really good hybrid. I have 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, I gotta focus on the cactus stuff now. I'm sorry. But I don't want to have too much of my personal life in the stream. I don't want to have that kind of attention. Just showing out. I want to go through the seedling containers, you know. But yeah, Flying Dragon Cantora, and I need to still look and verify. Cantora 1433 and from 2025. Okay. So let's move that aside, and then I will we'll go through these. I have a lot of them, brought quite a few. Okay. Everything looking great here. Just a few seed corns here and there that are stuck on the tip. I usually remove them when I can. No fungus gnats or something like that. Okay. Yeah, these are looking interesting, all kinds of different colors. Just taking the lamp a little bit here. Hey Dave, good morning. Just seeing it now. Yeah, just interesting to see the different kind of green colors that these have. There's a lot of variegation probably that you can kind of see in the early stage. This will be an interesting cross to see. Okay, let me see. Next one. The temperatures have gone down over the night. I've kind of let the oven cool down a little. I've had that thing running all the time, and it really affected the air quality inside the house. So I wanted to have it out for a while. There was a fungus gnat in here, unfortunately, but the seedlings look great. So maybe a little bit too dry. Watering a little bit. Okay. All right. Closing this one up again, but seeing a fungus gnat right now, that's not good. And here I found a seedling where the seed corn was stuck so firmly that it kind of started to become infected. It's very hard to get it down, but I have it down now. Okay. Yeah, apart from the fungus gnat walking around, making a big show out of it, nothing of problem that I see. Okay. Then here. Uwe Kala hybrids. All looking great. Not one problem. One or two of the seedlings are a little bit kind of leaning over, so I might correct that. But apart from that, I don't have to do anything here. Yeah, the one seedling's maybe a little bit loose. Okay. Yeah, apart from that, all great. Haven't seen a fungus gnat in that one. Okay. Yeah, these are Lubivia seedlings. I can tell because they stretch so fast in the beginning. Very unusual size for seedlings that young. Also, a lot of them with the seeds kind of thing still on top. I really like to see that disappear. But yeah, apart from that, very young seedlings, maybe a week old. And welcome to everyone who's joined us in the stream. Happy to take questions if you like. Just going through my seedling containers. And yeah, when I'm done with that, I will do a little bit more seed cleaning. Have sown out a lot of interesting hybrids with very good kind of flowers. I usually don't comment on that. We've just discussed this shortly before you probably came to the stream, so check that part out again, where I talk. I was born in Germany, but yeah, I'm not really commenting much on that. I like to kind of not having people at my house suddenly saying hello, trying to shake my hand, stuff like that. I appreciate not having to do that. Kind of already difficult without that. I speak German, yes. I was born in Germany. I speak pretty but I'm actually a Saarländer. That is where I was born. Like that's a little bit kind of different German, but also different kind of dialect. So yeah, let me see. There's some grass growing inside this one. Check it out. Isn't really a problem, but I often remove it because it takes away the light. It takes in some nutrients. I mean, not a lot. Grass isn't really here a huge problem, but once you have it, it can overgrow everything pretty fast. That doesn't have to be something terrible, but they just get less likes that way. But apart from that, they look great. There are one or two that are tiny, that haven't grown because they didn't have contact with the soil. But yeah, that's okay. Here's a seedling that needs to be taken out. Doesn't look good. Kind of discoloration, and I haven't seen it at first. Okay. They're looking great, by the way. First set of spines, really interesting. Not bad. But also a lot of seedlings that are behind. Different kind of ages from the same seedlings that came up at the same time. Sometimes it happens that that some are stronger than others, develop faster than others. Hey, good morning. Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for asking. I'm great. finally getting to the point when, you know, when everything, all the stress from the last months, it's kind of shaking off a little bit. Getting that window fixed soon, everything, you know. I'm great, thank you. But yeah, I'm just hoping that the winter is just over soon. I want to get it started so it's over again soon. I'm never getting used to the cold kind of weather. Okay. So here, some of them are really stretching, like one seedling that has like twice the size of the others. Could be lack of light. Sometimes they stretch a little bit. Okay, so this is 18A 2000. Okay. That is a great hybrid by Andreas Wessner. Really good cross. This could be great. The father was Vers 12 by Cactus Vers. Yeah, I mean, at least it's not so cold anymore. Maybe 14 days ago, or not even 14 days, maybe 10, it was so cold at night, -7 Celsius at night, was really bad. So I'm just glad that it's not so cold that I gotta heat the greenhouses and gotta heat the house so much. That's why today the oven is out for a while. Not forever, but just for a while now. So I can get the air quality back inside the house. You really feel like you are smoking a cigarette just from the smoke that the wood oven has, that it produces. It feels like you are kind of smoking, but you're not, you know. It's just that kind of it really affects the air quality when I'm running the wood oven. The cat loved to be in front of the oven, but she stopped at some point. Maybe it was too hot, or maybe it was because it stank. Oh yeah, I mean, usually it's best to sow out in winter, but it can be beneficial when you are sowing out when it's getting hot already. You know, then you have all that natural heat on your side. Especially if you're sowing out in a greenhouse. But again, you are losing half a season where you can already grow the seedlings indoors, like we do right now. So that's kind of, yeah, it has benefits and you know, pros and cons. I used to sow out around May. Back then, like before I kind of had a feeling for like the season of a cactus breeder and how to get the plants through the season fast. But back then, I always sown out in the greenhouse, and it has definitely had a higher germination rate, higher viability. The heat just helps. So yeah, over here, these are Lubivia seedlings, some very tall, some smaller. It's really interesting what kind of a range you get just from the same cross, from the same seeds. But everything all right in that one. Not seeing any kind of fungus gnat, which is great. So yeah, going through the containers of cactus seedlings that we've sown out, I've seen a lot of people just finding the stream. So we're sowing out cactus seedlings, nice kind of flower hybrids and that kind of stuff. And yeah, we're going through the containers of seedlings that we've sown out in the last weeks, in the last months maybe. Okay, here's a seedling that where I feel like it will not make it, and I will take it out. It already looks a little bit like cloggy, like cloudy, maybe. And there are more in this container that we might lose. I suspect probably because it's variegation, and it's such a variegation that you would have to graft the seedling. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Just been going through the containers of seedlings, and then I will continue to clean seeds. Just taking questions every now and then. But yeah, right now, going through the container here, and some of them don't really look nice. Like, this is a cross with Humkes Roro, and I just believe that this cross is a little bit genetically unhealthy. Like, the parents were very distant, so you can sometimes get offspring that isn't in great genetic shape. Thank you. I'm great. Thank you. Having a decent day today. It's finally not so cold anymore. I will get my bathroom fixed soon. Everything all right at the moment. I just hope it stays a little bit warmer for the next week or two. I don't want to use the heater so much. Want to save a little bit, here and there. But apart from that, I'm doing great. Finally at a point where a lot of the stress from the last weeks kind of fell off my back. There's still lots and lots of problems, but it's gotten a little bit better. Yeah, United Kingdom, I'm sure it's similar. Like, we are pretty close in regards to the weather. I often, like, when I see that the snow chaos is happening in countries like United Kingdom, or like in other parts of Europe, then you can sometimes get a little taste for the kind of weather that I will be getting maybe a few weeks later, or maybe a few days later only. So yeah, right now I'm happy that it's not so cold. I don't have to heat the greenhouses. There's not so much risk that something freezes. I like that kind of weather. It's good for the plants in the greenhouses when it's not so cold. I'm always worried that a heater might break, something like that can always happen, and then yeah, there's always risk involved with these electric heaters. One night where they wouldn't run, you wouldn't notice it until it's too late. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I just want to get through the winter. Yeah, over here I haven't had that kind of snow from the past, like from when I was a child. We used to get a lot of snow that was on the ground for weeks, and we don't have that anymore here either. It's usually rainy snow. Every now and then we get snow that also kind of compacts and stays on the ground a little bit, but it's very rare. We've had a little bit of snow at the beginning of the year, but nothing too bad so far. And it was good because I still have no bathroom window. So once it snows on top of that thing that I put there, it will snow into my bathtub. So I'm just glad that we have been spared that for now. So yeah, this is a container here with a little bit of moss. I usually remove it. I don't want to have it overgrowing everything. The cactus seedlings are looking great. Healthy, nice, tiny cactus seedlings with the first set of spines. Let me see what kind of a cross this was. These are from a hybrid called Gräsers Erfolg, Selbstbestäubung and Cantora Gelb. The mother is a Reinhard Liske hybrid. Very good kind of flower. Ruffled, big, really the best of both worlds. The best of the Gräser side and the Cantora side. Okay, so here the seedlings look unique, interesting, like multi-hybrid seedlings. I'm not sure what it is, but Uwe Karle hybrid. So we are growing them no matter what. Okay. Let's see. Okay, these are looking great too. Might be the same. And in this container here we have one set of seedlings that grew a lot faster than the others. Some with maybe 3-4 sets of spines already, while the others don't even have the first ones. No, we're sowing cactus seeds. Cactus seeds, you know? Okay, yeah. These are columnar kind of plants with a colored father. So yeah, I'm sorry, gotta like kind of moderate the chat a little bit harsher. Feel like today it's getting kind of a little bit too wild for the kind of channel that this is. We're growing cactus, flower hybrids, that kind of stuff. For everyone who found the stream, you know, just came across randomly. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We are just sowing out different kind of cactus hybrids with big flowers, interesting kind of flowers. And yeah, we're going through the seedlings that we've sown out maybe a month ago. So checking everything here. I open up the containers on a regular basis because once you have a problem in one of them, it can easily happen. Like it can go very fast that you lose the whole container, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, in here, looking great. Most of them already growing spines, not all of them. So there's definitely a range in this container too. But great. Okay. I'm sorry for moderating a little bit harsher now in the stream. I just wanna, you know how it is. Okay. Yeah, looking great. Interesting seedlings. Uwe Karle cross from 2023. And there may be 10, 15 seedlings, something like that. Yeah, roughly 15 seedlings. And looking healthy. Otherwise, there are a few where there's still the remnant of the seed corn is stuck on top. But I can remove that easily with a pencil. Carefully, just trying to get it off without causing an injury, something like that. I don't want to have that seed corn being stuck at the top. Hey mate, the seedlings are roughly between 1 month old and a few weeks old. We've been sowing them all out in the stream, so you can, for most of them, you could even go back and have a look at the stream and where we have sown them out, you know. But roughly a month, I would say. And the majority of them are currently at around that age. There were a few more waves that were sown out afterwards. But that's the oldest, I guess. And they are already growing nicely. I have them under a plant lamp. Everything looking perfectly. Healthy seedlings in this one too. Also today I barely saw fungus gnats. I'm moderating really harsh now. Feel like the kind of the stream is a little bit overrun. Like with the kind of comment that I really don't like on like family friendly kind of channel. You know, we're sowing out cactus seeds, so I appreciate that the chat stays friendly, family friendly kind of stuff. That's really important for me, because what we do here, I don't want to see it being pushed into a negative kind of corner. I don't want to have that kind of negative connotation there. You know, like we're growing cactus. This is a great hobby. It's a family friendly hobby that I would recommend. So yeah, every now and then when you know, when the comments are a little bit wild, I gotta moderate a little bit harsher. And I'm sorry for that. I hate it. But we're on YouTube, you know, that kind of stuff. Right now, at what temperature do you have the seedlings under the plant lamp? Maybe around 25, something like that. I usually have the heater on, trying to get a certain a fair amount of heat to induce the germination on the younger seedlings that are currently just where there are just seeds waiting to come up. And the heat from the heater also reaches the seedlings. So I very roughly aim at 25 Celsius, like a pretty warm room temperature, but not so warm that the seedlings might get heat damage. What can happen, you know, like through the heater here, I know how fast it can go. On a hot day, the heater can really produce that little bit of extra heat that might be too much for the seedlings. So it isn't easy to always keep the temperature steady without using like a central heater kind of thing. And I also have that. I'm just trying to focus a little bit on inducing the heat with the oven, because that's what I have more available right now, where I can just really heat the temperature up without risking to burn too much of the central heating. I still haven't gotten like filled it up for the winter, and I want to kind of I hope it lasts another 2 weeks or so, 2-3 weeks. We'll see how it goes, you know. So I'm doing a lot with the wood oven, but every now and then it gets too hot for a seedling. Can happen. Okay, so over here, Uwe Carlecross. Healthy looking seedlings, but there's a fungus gnat, and I really don't like that. Seedlings look very fragile, kind of thinnish. Could really lose them if something goes wrong. A little bit more water. Trying to get the fungus gnat out. I'm looking forward to the new soil so we can avoid that in the future. Okay. One more, and then I will focus on cleaning seeds again. Once again, cleaning cactus seeds, usually hybrid seeds. Stuff like flying saucer, Sörensia hybrids, multi-hybrids, interesting kind of flowers. Nothing that is any kind of an issue. These are Uwe Kahle seeds from a cross with Bamboy as father. And that could be great. We'll see how dominant it is as father, but I suspect Bamboy to be very dominant. So I would definitely sow out seeds that only have it as a father instead of just a mother. Okay. So yeah, most of the seedlings that I browsed through here, they look great. I will move them under the lamp again later. I have a few more on the side that I wanted to go through, that have just come up, that are just coming from the heater. I usually try to remove them from the heater very fast, because once you have little seedlings, they are easy to overheat them, like I said earlier. So they need to be moved away very fast. And these will go under the lamp now. Okay. Yeah, looking terrible. And it's an older cross. You can see that sometimes it's a Lobivia hybrid. And sometimes when you have older seeds, it can only be like Lobivia seeds. I feel like the viability drops faster than some of the other species, or some of the other genera. Viability drops very fast on Lobivia. And when they come up, like in this case, there are two seedlings, and both look like they might not make it. And there's a tiny kind of seedling that just came up, that just germinated, but that looks like it might not have the power to grow into a healthy seedling. So in this case, poor genetic health from just old seeds. Okay, might also have been too hot. Not sure. We'll see. But these will go under the plant lamp too now. I often hope that I get at least 10 seedlings per container. But sometimes that isn't possible. Sometimes you just can't do it. Like you only get 1 or 2 seedlings from a cross. And when that happens, one plant that gets big is enough. That can already be enough. You only need one plant to grow it to adulthood, so you can see the flower propagated. So one plant is better than none. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on today, but there's quite a lot of activity in the chat, like where I have to get active and that kind of stuff. And I hate doing that, I really don't like. I mean, I've been moderating like groups, Facebook groups and subreddits, and I don't like it. I try to interfere as little as possible. So yeah, but every now and then, like when we reach a general audience, it kind of we have that kind of an uptick in the comments. So yeah, I mean, it's great. It means that the channel is seen, that people find the stream, that people just try to see what's going on here, It is good for the hobby that people, that like the general audience every now and then stumbles like over a stream like this. It's a good hobby. It's a positive hobby. I love sowing out. It's great for mental health. And so I'm sure that every now and then someone will find the stream and will find the way into the hobby, and that makes it worth it. So yeah. But every now and then I might have to moderate in the chat. It happens. But I'm also taking general questions. If you want to make use of that stream, I'm also happy to help if there's something you need help with your cactus seedlings, whatever. It's possible. Every now and then I notice that the stream has suddenly a large audience, like from 1 minute to another, maybe because it's being recommended. And I mean, I gotta learn how to use this kind of medium. It's still new. I'm not really a streamer. I'm streaming, but it's not really something that I where I have real experience with. I never really watch streams. It's just something I feel like this could be great for a lot of the parts of the hobby that have to be done indoors. But I'm not really experienced with it. Well, I'm making that kind of experience now, and for now I'm okay with it. This is great. In my opinion, it means that the streams are seen, the streams are found, and again, it also attracts people to the hobby. So now I'm cleaning the seeds that I have on paper towels, that I have like cleaned in autumn. In this case, it's kiwi seeds, like the fruit. I want to sow out some kiwis, and I just realized that what I have here is the kiwi seeds that I had dried. I want to get some going. They should be able to take the frost. But I haven't grown any yet. I just know that I once had a garden at a place where we used to rent, and they had kiwi plants in the garden. And I was fascinated by that, because I always thought there were this kind of tropical plant. So I was positively surprised that they kind of survive the European winter. So now I'm sowing out a few. I've never done it, but I want to do it on the channel. Want to do it on the stream. So this is a great time to just clean them. I want to do more fruit trees and shrubs, that kind of stuff. Decided I want to plant a few more trees in my life. I've already planted a few, and some of them have grown big. But I want to kind of, when you realize you have all that space, and we have a lot of space here, we could put up all kinds of interesting fruit shrubs. I have so many connections to other people in other places of the world, Could be a great way to have a huge vegetable garden, that kind of stuff. And I want to get started with that. I never really did a lot of that in the past, but in the future I want to do more of it. Could be great for the channel too, just cleaning any kind of, or just showing other plants sometimes too. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe there are some cultivars, some hybrids, whatever they are called, that can take the frost better than others. We'll see. I will just experiment. I collected seeds from 2 different kind of kiwis in summer. One like the classic one that you always see, but every now and then I come across ones that are more golden, different kind of cultivars, and I want to experiment with them. So maybe I will plant these in the next days, in the next couple of weeks, and then we can talk a little bit about it, what's happening. I'm not sure if I suspect they might even have to be like cold treated, giving them that kind of a cold treatment that you give with a lot of plants that get frost in their home country. And when I think about it, I mean, it's like New Zealand, right, or something like that. I got to look it up where the plant is coming from. But I believe it's experiencing frost at the original site. So it might be necessary to cold treat it. Put the seed somewhere in a bag of maybe paper towel, moist paper towel in the freezer, something like that. We'll see. I will experiment a little bit. Have you ever tasted your cactus fruits? I did not. I have not. It's just so much work that goes into growing the cactus fruit, you go through all the work to pollinate. Then you're happy about the fact that you finally have a pollination. and I never really wanted to eat them because I really like the seeds. I usually do not make a cross that I would not sow out, and most of the seeds that I have, like I wouldn't trade the quality of the cross for just being able to eat a little fruit, you know. I don't like fruit anyway. Like I don't like anything that's sour. And but I have a few plants, one or two, that are probably self-fertile and they are able to grow very big fruits. And if I would ever try to taste one, those kind of cultivars would be great for it because the fruit is so big. They self-pollinate, and that means that the fruit is usually twice as big as the other fruits, as fruits of similar plants, you know. And that might be a thing if it is edible. Like some of the cactus fruits are very edible. Like cactus fruits are very edible. They are often in South America. They are often sold because they taste nice, allegedly. And I'm growing some for that very reason, because I felt like I want to maybe grow one out, a cactus. They are nice as plants, but it's an interesting thing to, like, the fruits are really big. If you see them and they have spines, it's an interesting kind of cactus. Yeah, I mean, dragon fruit. I probably ate one of those maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago, but I wouldn't be able to tell you. Right? I'm sure I must have eaten one of those, but it's the type of stuff I never really did it in my collection, like where I went into the greenhouse and just took a bite. Maybe in the future one day. We'll see how it goes with the cactus seedlings. I haven't seen them yet, like how big they are. I'm already glad when I get one of them that's getting tall, that's getting old. And then we'll see if I can get it to flower. Yeah, and I will look into them here, into the conditions of kiwi seeds for the next time. If I can just sow them out, then I will do it. If not, I will put it in the freezer, maybe. Giving them a little kind of stratification kind of thing. Just in case. I also collected seeds of blueberries, but I have never grown those either. But this is the kind of stuff that I want to do more of in the future. Just more vegetable kind of stuff. Because what I have here is basically, it's like a farm. It's a huge kind of thing. And we could, like, every piece of land where we don't put something, it will be overgrown. It will be just taken over by nature. So we might as well put something interesting there, like a few good trees. I always wanted to plant a walnut tree, and I've already planted one, but it didn't make it. At the time, I was just putting that thing there and checking again after 2 years or so. And that kind of stuff, something that never really works. I mean, it can work when you have an invasive kind of plant, but very often little care is necessary. Hey Dave, good morning. Hope you're doing all right. Still cleaning, I'm cleaning kiwi seeds. I don't think I've ever sown them out, so we will see. And in the next couple of weeks, I want to go through my seed collection that I have, and maybe we will find some more vegetables that I can sow out. Can make use of the plant lamp that I have running for the cactus seedlings, you know. I want to try growing some eucalyptus trees again. I've already sown out some of them in the past, but I never really managed to grow them like to adult plants. And that was usually because I didn't have the kind of plant lamp that I have now. So today it should actually work. We'll see. I don't want to plant them out here because the eucalyptus trees are such a kind of fire risk. So I wouldn't really put them somewhere in the garden, but maybe in a greenhouse. Just a cool tree. And these here, I see that here's another piece of paper with the other kiwi cultivar that I collected. So thank you guys for joining the stream, by the way. I appreciate it. Also the people who found the stream. I'm always happy when I see that. I'm always happy when like the stream reaches the general audience a little bit more. But yeah, just a small channel and not really experienced with that kind of stuff. We will figure that out somewhere along the way. I will do my stream for one person or for 100. It doesn't matter. It's always the same for me. I could sit here alone and I would just continue because a lot of people also watch it later. Okay, the kiwi, the first kiwi cultivar seeds are pretty clean. It's okay. Next time when I'm sowing out, I would sow these out too. But until then, I need to look into this. Gotta find out if they need cold treatment or not. Because if they don't need cold treatment, then I would just put them in like trying to sow them out like the cactus seedlings, and we'll see how that goes. It's a kind of seed where I feel like it might not have to be buried very, very deeply, if at all. Okay. Let me see what I wrote there. Kiwi. It was saying something like the country, like the city where it came from, or the state in New Zealand, but I'm not sure what it means. I can't read my own handwriting very often. I'm notorious for having a terrible handwriting. I can't read it sometimes myself. Okay. Now the next one. These are also kiwi, but this time it's one of the golden cultivars. I really want to sow these out. Could be really interesting. And later today, I want to continue filming more of those Cactus Doctor segments that I already started uploading. I would just check plants We would take a plant into the office here, just putting it on the table. Plants that needs help, where I would go through the greenhouse and look out, like pick me a plant where I feel like something needs to happen, and we would do it on stream or on the video that I will upload then. Just making the decision what needs to be done in every video or in every stream, and we will do that. Just checking and maybe every now and then we need to sometimes take a little piece off if an infection cannot be stopped, or maybe treat it in any other way that we have available. That kind of stuff. I want to do that. I've already did quite a bunch of videos in the past. You can, if you like want to see them, just check them out. I think I even made a playlist. I made a few interesting playlists recently, and one with the time-lapse videos. And I wanted to say that check it out, because it's a really nice kind of playlist where I put together most of the time lapses that we did this year, and there were some really, really awesome ones. I also put one of the best as a trailer for the channel, so people who will kind of find the channel, they will see that kind of time lapse that I put as a as a channel trailer, and they will see what the channel is about. What do you know about Echinopsis thaiensis? Well, it's a interesting species. Pretty kind of original kind of flowers, that magenta kind of reddish, beautiful flowers. I have a few, and so far they have not flowered for me. I'm currently waiting on flowers on thaiensis, and I hope it's the reddish kind of flower. The other one was like got a separate description as Poco, Echinopsis Poco, Trichocereus Poco. Also belongs to thaiensis. I think now they have moved it into another genus, like Sörensia, I believe. Yeah, and it's a cool plant. I love it. Has a lot of potential for hybrid breeding. You could maybe get a really good hybrid with it. Make a cross, pollinate it with flying saucer. Using flying saucer as father on Echinopsis thaiensis, that could be great. I would love to see that. Yeah. Check out, it's the track lists that are somewhere at the front page of the channel. And if you don't see that, maybe it's because you are using a mobile device. Maybe it's only loading the basic videos. So in that case, check out the channel from a desktop computer. Then you might see the time lapse stuff too. I have a few like track lists where I put together a greenhouse, where I built a greenhouse a few years ago. That was kind of interesting, and it's something that I would do again. Maybe if a sponsor wants to pay a greenhouse, I will build it on the channel, but only if it's not garbage, only if it's a good one, like that doesn't fall apart. Because I'm not like, I wouldn't build a product that I don't like and not say it, that kind of stuff. But I'm happy to build a good greenhouse and show it on the channel in the future again. Something I've did before, but it was not paid or something like that, just I bought me a greenhouse and built it. And I think I filmed over a month, because I only have like a limited kind of energy every day from the muscle problems that I have. So it took a while until I built it. But that was one of the playlists that I did. Then I did a few on identifying species, like botanical species, where you can just ways to identify a certain species. I will do more of these in the next season. I already wanted to do it like this year, but then so much happened on the channel. Everything was really taking off, and I didn't have the time. And I also wanted to kind of go away a little bit from the botanical species, because I got a lot of comments that were about that, always about certain kind of species. And I wanted to go into a more general direction with the channel, kind of flower stuff, the stuff that you see now. But I want to also do more of the classic how to identify a certain species videos, because I'm at a point where I can really make them, where I have most of the plants around, where I can show and compare the different species and can say in the video, okay, let's talk it through. Let's talk about ways to identify it and the lookalikes that might appear similar, that kind of stuff. There's also a huge audience for these kinds of videos, but again, it also mattered to me to kind of move away a little bit from always being limited to certain species. I love them, so many amazing species around, but it's not my main field of interest in general for the channel. Also because it can constantly change how a platform sees certain species, like you never know. And I really like to do stuff that people see, like that can really go into a wider audience and being seen. It is just like an advertising thing for the hobby, I believe. That's how I see it. So yeah, these are kiwi seeds like the others, and we will sow these out too sometime soon. I just need to read a little bit into the conditions that are necessary, kind of temperatures and all. I wanted to kind of take a more general approach with the channel for a while, like every now and then also doing the kind of other stuff that interests me. And I have that huge chance, like with the big kind of garden that I have, and right now so much of it is kind of wild, overgrown with wild plants, and that is great. But we might as well do something with that space, kind of do something good with it. I really want to try sowing out or planting another walnut tree. I really like walnuts, and they're kind of expensive, so I really want to plant one again. I would probably buy me a plant and plant that out. But we will see. If things are going great, maybe we're doing that on the channel too. Okay. And it's crazy how many seeds you get from just one kiwi. Like this was one plant, one fruit that I had where I didn't know what to do with it. The kind of stuff that you always have in the fridge, that you always push in the back, way back. So it's great to have maybe, I don't know, 300 seeds from just one plant, from one fruit. That's really good. Okay. So yeah, any general questions, I'm happy to take them. If not, I will just continue to clean the seeds here. All kinds of different seeds, Lobivia, kiwi, but also other stuff like Sörensia, cactus hybrids. candicans, cantora hybrids, that kind of stuff. Colorful flowers and all. The kind of stuff that you actually see on the channel all year round. That's what we're doing here. And it's a lot of work. That kind of stuff. I've always been doing it like offline when I'm not on the channel, not on the stream. And now I can do something positive while I'm doing that, you know. While I'm working, I can also do something for the channel and have these conversations with the community. Okay. So now I'm back at Cactus Seeds. And I'm trying to read what I wrote here. I can't even tell which direction. What is up? Okay. This is a Sören. Do you have any experience with mesems? I had a few. Like in the past, I've had a lot of kind of that living rocks, kind of lit-ups kind of stuff too. But I moved away from it. I was not right for it. But cool plants. I also have like, at one point I planted out one of these frost hardy kind of delosperma kind of plants, like these ground covering plants that you sometimes find in Australia or New Zealand, that people plant out there a lot. I once tried planting them, but it didn't really go well. I'm not sure what I did wrong. Probably that I didn't create a stone garden, because I'm not a fan of stone gardens in general, because they are so lifeless kind of in their way, you know. Like, you waste so much space where you could have a natural kind of land for the insects that benefit from it, you know. So I always kind of moved away from stone gardens, but I have certain parts of the garden, you know, where you put a little bit of gravel here and there to kind of have a steady ground, that kind of stuff. But in general, if I had taken the time to put together a decent stone garden, I'm sure that that plant would have done great. I hear that they take a lot of frost. They are frost hardy and all that. Beautiful flowers. But my space is so limited. I only have these tiny greenhouses that are already so expensive, you know? Like you can't buy anything cheap here, because the winter is cold and it rains all the time. So you need a decent kind of greenhouse. And the bigger it is, the more expensive is it to heat it in winter. So that is the reason why I used to work with smaller greenhouses. In the future, I mean, if things work better with the channel, if the channel is growing, if everything's going good, maybe I'll buy a bigger greenhouse and I'll be able to heat it accordingly, you know, because the problem isn't to get a bigger greenhouse. The problem is to get a bigger greenhouse that is also well built and will stand there for 10, 15 years. And it doesn't cost a lot to heat it in winter. So yeah, the small ones that I have in every one I have an electric heater and a digital thermostat. And by running that combination, it is somewhat affordable to do it. But it still costs a few hundred per greenhouse every year. So I might at some point, if I get a bigger greenhouse, maybe then use a gas heater. Maybe going away from electricity or using solar panel to kind of produce the electricity, because electricity has become so expensive. if I had more space, I would grow all kinds of different plants just because they are amazing. I even wanted to have the classic tropical kind of trees. And yeah, but unfortunately the weather is just never, it's either too cold in winter or too wet, where it's constantly raining. So never had a lot of luck there. Always dreamed about having a tropical kind of greenhouse that is heated, where you can have the tropical kind of plants all year round. Maybe one day in the future. Right now, the space that I have is used for all the hybrids that I work with to create flowers, to make crosses, to get a new kind of hybrid that is interesting in some form. So yeah, and this is from Sörensia telegonoides hybrid Charm. Charm being having a huge flower, like very big flower, and interesting body, classic telegonoides body, and the flower I think is yellowish, whitish, interesting color, and in my opinion probably self-fertile, or at least somewhat extremely fertile. Yeah, I believe you. I mean, it depends on, like, if you are, whether you are able to heat the greenhouse just with the solar panels. It will depend on the quality that is built, and if it is similar to the way it is with the LED lamps, like with the plant lamps and all, they get better every year. They get more efficient every year. And if they can manage to do the same thing with solar panels, so I can run them without having to pay some electricity company, that would be great. I really don't wanna waste too much space, like with a huge solar panel that doesn't really, where you can't even store the electricity long enough, and it really hurts me to pay electricity companies so much money every month. I think I pay something like $100, including the heaters and all, So that is a lot of money that I would prefer not having to pay. So yeah, let me see. I do not grow any kind of like Mexican kind of cacti for breeding. Like, the flowers are too small. It is amazing plants, very interesting, and like interesting from a botanical point of view. I love the genus, it's an interesting kind of genus, but it's not something that I have where I really look closely to it, because the flower size is so small. So many of them are self-fertile, and always when you have self-fertility, it's difficult to create hybrid crosses. But it is interesting as a field of work. There are better people to do it than I am. But it's an interesting kind of field. And if I were to make hybrid crosses, I would try to make crosses with Mammillaria, with Turbinicarpus, with Gymnocalicium. That are the kind of genera that I would use. Or just randomly try to pollinate with everything. And at some point, maybe once in your life, you are lucky. But yeah, it's not really something that interests me. Also because I have so little space. I have so little space for growing the actual crosses that I make every year. And yeah, it's also like kind of difficult to work. I mean, we have a Facebook group. We have different kind of Facebook groups about all kinds of different genera. And there are some groups that have always been very difficult to run. because the platform is running auto moderators that do not work reliably. So there are constantly problems around that genus, and I don't want to have anything to like that kind of stress on a regular basis is not healthy. I'm just happy that with our Trichocerois group that we have, it's a little bit less problematic, and just a little bit. I'm really very close to stepping down as a group moderator in many groups, and that kind of group, like the Mexican kind of species that attract all the scammers. That's the kind of stuff where I don't see myself doing that much longer. The moderation is so much work. You always have to kind of fight against unfair decisions by the auto moderators. When they run some kind of AI technology that flags posts based on hashtags, that kind of stuff. So you have a lot of these kind of problems, and I'm not seeing that in my life long term anymore. Life as a group moderator has become worse over the years, and yeah, I feel like they lost me at some point. Not like the community. I'm still doing it for the community. I mean, the platform. They went so hard against admins at some point. Maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when that whole stuff with the scammers started, and we were constantly reporting accounts which were obviously fake, and they were kind of looking at the account and reapproved them, that kind of thing, where the whole where we had to stop allowing sales posts in the group, and yeah, that kind of stuff. I'm not seeing that anymore in my life. I don't need that kind of a stress. And then every now and then, I mean, you have to run, and the auto moderator has to be on the strictest kind of level. And when you do that, there's a high rate of failure, like where completely harmless posts are not approved. But you have to kind of run the auto moderator at such a strict setting. That is something that happens also with the Mexican kind of genera that attract the scammers. You have to run the strictest setting, otherwise you constantly have new members in the group that attempt to sell, and yeah, it just brings in so much moderating work. But people aren't seeing that kind of side. People always, like this morning, there was a situation on Reddit where a big subreddit kind of got into hot water over their moderation. And people in the comments were always saying like stuff about moderators. It's always the same kind of people who are power hungry, that stuff. And it's not true. I mean, it might be true if you look at it on Reddit, maybe on the big subreddits where always the same people moderate, people who just enjoy moderating because it gives them power. But the most moderators that I've got to know in the hobby, in the cactus hobby, in the plant hobby, they just loved the hobby and wanted to do something for the hobby. So they moderate these tiny subreddits or tiny Facebook groups or forums, whatever. And it's usually people who are great people who just do that kind of a unpaid volunteer service, voluntary service to the community. And a lot of people don't know that moderators aren't always like the type we see on Reddit, that when they go viral for their misbehavior, that kind of stuff. So yeah, being a moderator is also a lot of work, stuff that is never seen, because you always do the work before the post goes online. You go through the posts, you check every account that tries to join to see which one is a scammer. It involves so much work that is never going live, that is never visible to new members who just join and who have just had a post declined by an auto moderator. So there's often you often get criticism and it's not justified really, because you are trying your best, you are constantly busy moderating every day of the week, but if everything runs smoothly, people don't even notice that the moderators are there keeping everything alive, and so it's easy to take it for granted. That, I guess that's what I wanted to say, you know. So hey mate, just saw someone said hello in the stream, in the chat. Do you know about any Bridgezoid with colored flowers? Yes. I've seen a lot of crosses by Misplant. He did some, and some of them have colored flowers. Like the first wave of Misplant crosses had a few, like where he, like the ones where he crossed everything with like the scope, the scope hybrids, where he got the Sally hybrids from. That kind of wave of hybrids in the same, around the same time, Misplant did more crosses like that. And with the variegated grandiflorus, or with the crested grandiflorus, whatever that hybrid was, he used that one as fathers, and the flowers were big and nice. I've seen one or two. So they exist, but they are certainly very rare. A few hybrids here and there that are currently grown, that still have to flower. But it's an amazing species for hybrid breeding because the flowers are so big. You know, the species name Echinopsis laginiformis, that's the Echinopsis name. Big flowers, really nice. Depends on what kind of a cross you make. Every cross is different, but with the right father, you can get a really big, beautiful flower in the next generation, and maybe the same body, which would be interesting, you know, which would be probably the goal. You don't make that kind of cross if you want to just have the body of the father. So yeah. So this one, Charm. Small fruit was this one. I think it was pollinated with Lubivia pollen. So the fruit was a little smaller. Okay. So this is Sörensia fateri. Sörensia fateri. A little bit like Huasha, but with a different kind of flower color. Nice. This one had nice big orange kind of flowers. But I'm still not sold that it is actually not self-fertile. We'll see. Every now and then I see a fruit, and I get the feeling that it could be from a self-pollination, and I had that feeling with this one. It's probably not self-fertile, but I had that in mind, like that possibility. So yeah, coming close to the end soon. I mean, if you have any questions, happy to take any more questions now. I will continue to clean that kind of cross. And then at some point at the 145 or something, I will probably end the stream again. But it's been fun today. It was a little bit more challenging than usually. Like today the stream had a bunch of random visitors, like big waves of visitors. So every now and then, you know, you make experience as a streamer. It's not something that I had a lot of experience with in my life. But the stream helped me to always get the cactus work done that I would otherwise not do around this time. Usually at a time when I have a little bit of energy left in the morning. So I really enjoy that, like that I'm able to do this from home, just chatting with my community. I love that kind of stuff. within the next days, I will change the smartphone that I'm using to record the stream. I expect that the quality will go up, quality of the stream. We'll see. Maybe I will get me a microphone at some point. But every time I watch the stream, the audio sounds nice. It sounds like I often scream into the camera, and then I watch the stream and everything looks like perfect kind of sound. Maybe it's not always like that, but it definitely, every time I checked it, it looked okay. It's crazy what kind of a quality the stream has just from streaming with a mobile device, you know. I still remember the time when I used my smartphone and I wasn't even able to load a page, like a web page in the browser, because the mobile internet already existed, but it was so slow that nothing would load. So it has come a big way. Okay. Yeah, I think in this cross I used the Lobivia hybrid as father. Something similar to Angelo, I think. So it will be interesting to see if the seedlings have any kind of like sign traits of the father in the next generation. We'll see. Yeah, I've experimented with a microphone here. I have it here actually. It was like this, you know, but this is a cable. So I realized I would have to have a cable always here, and so I would try to get me one that I would set up at some point. But I'm the type of person, I don't really buy something cheap, because I know that if I really need it, if I really need a microphone long term, then I will have to get me a good one eventually. So I sometimes maybe try to buy the like a great version right away. But I have to be able to use it with my smartphone, and I'm not sure how that works if I have a big kind of microphone thing here. I'm not sure if that would work with my smartphone. I'll try it out. I already have an interesting kind of a microphone that I saw that people use for podcasts and stuff like that, you know. And at some point I will give me that as a Christmas gift, maybe. Not that I have real intentions to do a podcast, but I don't want to rule it out, you know. It could definitely happen. I'm not sure about what, but I could see it happen. If you think about it, it's basically not much different than what I'm doing right now with the stream. Whether I'm recording 2 hours and calling it a podcast, or if I'm talking 2 hours in the stream, it's pretty much the same result. So yeah, but I forgot how that manufacturer is called. But I read about it that it's something that is the kind of brand that a lot of the bigger channels are using, and it wasn't so expensive. It was like a couple of $100 maybe, so it was okay. So I'm almost through here, but a lot of remnants from the paper towel. The way these are cleaned, you have like the pulp, the fruit material from the cactus fruit, and you push it through a sieve trying to get rid of all the fruit material, so you just have the seeds left. But very often that doesn't happen. What happens is that you forget about it, and suddenly you realize that you have a rotten fruit there that you need to clean. And when you do that, it is much more difficult to push it through the sieve, like you when you would just kind of clean the fruit material, the pulp. So you often have remnants of the rest of the flower or the fruit in the final kind of cleaning, in the first cleaning. And if you really want to get rid of it, you have to do a second cleaning. And these here, everything here, this is after the first cleaning. And we will do another round on the channel in the next weeks. Just cleaning cactus seeds. I still have harvested a few fruits in the greenhouse. And they need to be cleaned, because otherwise I'm losing overview. I can only remember what kind of a fruit something is for maybe a month, and then it's over. So everything needs to be cleaned by then. Okay. But yeah, right now the mobile microphone is okay. It's not great, but the quality of sound was okay. I think the big difference is that you see a good microphone, it kind of, you hear mostly the voice and not much of the background noise like you might have here. So yeah. But I want to do that at another time. Everything's still fresh. A lot of cleanup that I have to do here. Okay. But yeah, coming back about like moderation and Reddit. I had similar experiences on Reddit when I was on the other side, when I was just a user, just a member. And I was posting my cactus stuff on a subreddit called Pigs, very often, like not very often, but maybe 10, 15 times. And the moderation was so bad on that subreddit that I never posted again. So I know how it is when kind of a bad apple kind of gives everyone a bad reputation. So I know how that is sometimes. I would love to continue cleaning here. But I don't think that the camera will do much longer than maybe another 5 minutes. I'm really trying to get it done before that. In case the stream ends, then my camera has turned off again. Like I said, I will change. I will move to the other device very soon. I just had to order a protective case so I don't drop it all the time. Something that happens very often to me. Okay. You see, where's my piece of paper? Yeah. In order to clean, I often use a piece of paper, a folded piece of paper, because it allows you to roll the seeds around, and everything that isn't roundish in shape will collect in center, and you can shove it off the piece of paper. And by doing that, by continuously doing that, you can kind of clean up the seeds a little bit here and there before sowing out. But in this case, I feel like we might do a second row of cleaning, water cleaning. Very often it's the best option, best choice. I think we will do that. So I'll put this into a paper bag, and we will clean them again later. Okay. So yeah, guys, I think I'm ending the stream soon. Just wanted to say thank you again for participating, for being here. A lot of action today. But I enjoy it, you know. I like when every now and then you gotta see what happens. Be spontaneous. That kind of stuff. I like that. I mean, I'm the most like spontaneous person that will ever live. But every now and then in a stream it can be nice. Kind of, you never know what kind of a question you will get. It's interesting. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow, and tomorrow we will continue with the cleaning of the seeds and maybe sowing out some of the kiwi seeds that I have. I would spend the day just looking into them, what kind of a setting they need. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, and then we'll do more of that. Maybe sowing out some of the cactus seeds too. But I will either have to pasteurize soil or hope that the new soil will arrive by then. We will not work with the old one anymore. Just too much fungus gnats in the soil. Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Until tomorrow, guys.